Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then I'm so happy to have you here. I'm Annie and today we're going to be discussing a really important topic. Now, if you are interested in law or you want to be a solicitor in the UK, then I can guarantee that you're probably thinking SQE or LPC. So today I'm going to discuss what I think of both the SQE and the LPC. But before I do that, I think it's probably useful to tell you a bit about myself and what I do and the path that I'm taking. So I'm sorry if you've watched my other videos and you already know this bit, and it might be a bit boring for you because you already know. But for the people that are new to my channel, so in 2016 I graduated from the University of Hertfordshire with a first class honours in law, LLB. And then I took like a 2-year gap, and in that 2-year gap I worked for UBS, which is like the Bank of Switzerland. I worked for Goldman Sachs and I worked for HSBC as well. I worked in like the legal department, so whilst it wasn't like the legal sector, I worked in financial services but worked for the legal department, and I was like negotiating contract, doing like basic paralegal work. So working in financial services was like my first step into my legal career. I fell into it by accident. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was just the first legal role that an agent advertised to me and I took it. And then that project ended and I was looking for other projects, and it was all agency work. So I worked as a contractor, made really good money, but it was temporary projects. So it wasn't something that was stable or consistent. Like, I made a large amount of money and then I moved on to the next thing. So my job at HSBC was about a year. It was probably the most boring job that I've ever had in my whole life, and I never ever want to go back to that ever again. But again, it was good money, good experience. It taught me a lot about what I want, and I realised that I just didn't want to work in financial services and I didn't want to work for a bank. I was a bit stressed out about my career and I didn't know what to do. I knew that I wanted to be a solicitor, but I didn't know how I would go about getting a role because everywhere I applied, so if I applied for a paralegal role for a high street firm, no one would accept me because I didn't have relevant experience. I was really worried about where my career was going, so I decided to do the LPC. And when I started the LPC, I was working at HSBC for 2 days, and then the rest was focusing mostly on my LPC. And honestly, it was really, really hard. Completed my LPC. Around 7 months before my LPC ended, I found a new role. I was contracting and I worked in KFC head offices in Woking, which was really nice, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't stay there too long because my LPC was just far too demanding and I had to leave the project. I got a role with the firm that I spoke about in one of my other videos. It's a criminal law firm in central London. We didn't get on. I got sacked. If you want to know why, you can go and watch that video. But even that made me realise that that's just not what I wanted to do. So after that, I was looking for some more contracting work because I was without a role. Oh, I also did my master's straight after my LPC. It was like a couple months more. I did like an extra module and a dissertation, and so I got a master's as well, and I got a distinction in my LPC and master's, which was combined. Okay, so after I finished that, I was looking for another role and I came across this agency, and their name is Chadwick Knott. If you live in London or if you're looking to move to London, they advertise loads of roles in London and they really get you focused on the right areas and they place you in some really good roles. So Chadwick Knott was advertising for a training contract and I applied for that, but I didn't get it. But my agent said, look, we've got this other job at this other place. They're hiring someone, they need someone for 3 months. It's just like a temporary contract. You'll be reviewing commercial documents, you know, stuff that you've done before. So I was like, okay, fine. So I had 2 interviews with this place by 4 different people and I got the job, and it's actually the job that I'm currently at, and I'm so happy with my role. I work for this large insurance broker. I won't disclose the name because I just don't want people to know where I work, but if you know where I work then that's also okay. But I've been there for 2 years now and I've progressed so much, but I still don't have a training contract. And this is where the discussion of the LPC or SQE comes in. So I've got my LPC, I've got my law degree, I have the knowledge, I've got my paralegal experience, and I have more than 2 years paralegal experience, but I still don't have a training contract. I really struggle with completing applications. I feel like they're such a big burden, and I don't think that they don't work well in the time that we live in. You can't identify your skills on a piece of paper. It doesn't give the employer a true picture of how you actually work. So I really struggle with them, and I find it really difficult to articulate my thoughts and sort of sell myself on a piece of paper, because the legal field is so competitive. I'm sure those of you who want to be a part of the legal sector understand my pain. Recently I've been looking into the SQE, and I have a lot of experience, so I tick off the 2 years experience anyways, but it's just the thought of taking more exams. So the SQE, as far as I understand it, and my understanding of the SQE is very minimal. The SQE, you need 2 years valid legal experience that needs to be signed off by a solicitor, and you also need to take 2 exams. Now you have to pay for those 2 exams, of course, but you also have to pay for the courses in order to take those exams. You need to know the spec, you need to know what you'll be examined on, and that also costs money. So I think all in all, once you pay for your tuition and once you pay for your 2 SQE exams, I think the SQE exams together are about £4,000, and when you pay for tuition and stuff, I'd say we're looking at the £10,000 mark altogether, and £10,000 is what I paid for my LPC. So for me at this point, I don't think the SQE is something I want to do. However, if it was sponsored, perhaps I'd have a different thought on that. I just think I've spent so much money already, and I don't think I'm at loss. Like, all my friends that I did the LPC with have qualified. I am so happy for them. Like, I'm so happy for them. I feel like there was a point in time where I was really upset that I wasn't up there with them. It felt like time was running out, but I've stopped thinking that way, and I've stopped forcing it so much. And I'd rather work on my skills and just my skill set and my CV and how I want to make myself better at my job. I think it took me a long time to realise that I shouldn't be rushing myself, and I made a video like this time last year saying I will get a training contract, and you know, I still stand by that. Like, I will still manifest that, and I will still think about it and make it happen, think about it so strongly to make it happen. So now sometimes I have the thought, you know, should I do the SQE exams? I will be qualified once I take those exams, but it also means investing a lot of money into gaining the title, whereas my current role, I already do so much that a solicitor does anyways. I'm in charge of a lot, I'm responsible for a lot of things, I manage a team, I train people. It's the stuff that a junior solicitor would do anyways, and I'm already at that level. Do I really need to be satisfied by a title and force myself to work hard again? Like, considering I've done a law degree, an LPC and my LLM, I don't know if I am ready for education again. Fine, I know once you're a solicitor you have to take your post-qualification exams, and I'm okay with that. And I actually like exams. It's really weird, but I really like exams and love studying, and I love all of that. But is it something that I want to do again and pay money for? I don't know. I don't think I'm in a rush. So I think it just comes down to, do I regret doing the LPC? And the answer is no. Well, I'm on LinkedIn, so loads of people actually contact me on LinkedIn. I'm connected with lots of undergraduate students who actually do reach out to me and ask, you know, what's your advice? What would you do? I speak to a lot of people about my profession, and if you're thinking about the LPC or the SQE, I'd still say do the LPC. It teaches you so much about how your life would be as a solicitor or as a trainee. It teaches you those basic skills that you need to know. And the SQE is still very new. A lot of law firms feel very uncomfortable with having these SQE apprentices starting out, and you can be as young as 18, I believe, and work your way up and have, you know, enough experience to then become a solicitor. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like experience can make you a really good solicitor, but at the same time, I feel like the theory of the LPC is really important, and perhaps that's not something you'd get from the SQE. I know that they're thinking to take their LPC off completely. I don't know if it's a good idea. I feel like the lawyers that will, be your seniors when you're completing your 2-year experience, they're only used to the LPC and they know what the LPC entails. Yeah, I'm umming and ahhing. I feel like if you haven't done your law degree and you know that you want to be a lawyer, I feel like the SQE would be a really good opportunity for you to experience life as a legal professional and then go on to study for the SQE and do your 2 exams. I feel like that would be quite helpful because you haven't invested that time in your law degree, in your LPC, in your master's, whatever. But for someone like me who's done a law degree, done my LPC, done my LLM, I feel like I owe it to myself to complete that in the traditional route, but I don't know if I'm being stubborn. I like the idea of doing a training contract. I like the idea of being junior and being supervised by someone who's been through the same exact thing as I would go through. But at the same time, I just think doing the SQE perhaps would be a big jump. I'd still be a junior lawyer because of course I will have only attained my title once I've done my SQE exams. But I don't know. I know people that work in my organisation that want to do the SQE. They've done the LPC, but they still want to go ahead and do the SQE exams because, quite frankly, training contracts are really, really hard to come by. This year is my year. I won't give up. If a training contract comes my way, I will grab it with open arms if it's the right thing for me to do. I know that I want to work in-house. I know that I don't want to work for a high street firm. I know that I don't want to work for a law firm. In-house is my forte. It's how I started my legal career, and I think it's definitely something that suits me as a person. I don't know if this video has been useful. It's been me literally speaking my mind, speaking my thoughts, and I feel like I've just asserted to myself that I made the right decision by doing the LPC, and from experience it seems to be working well. I learned so much in my LPC, and so much of that is illustrated in my day-to-day tasks. Drafting, to analysing, to speaking, so many things you learn in the LPC which you perhaps would not learn on the SQE, but you would learn it from experience. As I said, I don't know if this video was useful, but if you enjoyed it, then please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are doing. I love when you guys message me and tell me like what you're doing with your legal careers, when you guys ask me for advice. I will try to help as much as I possibly can. But just bear in mind, I'm no expert. I'm going through this for the first time ever. But it's nice to help some people along the way that are maybe not at the stage where I am. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!